Hey folks, welcome to my Friday live stream. I see Kevin says, "You're late, Aaron. What are you doing?" Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about traveling abroad and learning languages while you're in other countries. Slight change from what I announced was going to be the live stream topic today. That I announced last week was going to be the topic today. Originally, I had planned on giving you guys kind of an update on my 20 hours of practice, of vocal practice. Because remember, a few weeks ago, we had talked about how you can learn any skill to a decent level with 20 hours of practice. So I was going to do a little concert for you guys. Woke up this morning with a really bad sore throat. And I probably stayed up too late last night. And so my voice isn't really working. That's why I'm kind of running late on the live stream today. I've been drinking tons of tea and eating cough drops and stuff, but hopefully we'll postpone this live stream till tomorrow, and then if my throat is better by then I'll do it then. And if not, then it'll have to wait for quite a while, because tomorrow night I'm taking a bus to Canada, and I'm going to be practicing my French there because I'm on spring break. So I figured this would be something to talk about today. Hello, Cheshire Cat. Thanks for joining. I know how to pronounce that word. I'm kind of tired today, and like I said, my throat is not really working super great. So I'm going to Canada. This is something that I do basically as often as I can. It's hard because I'm in school, and I don't have a whole lot of money, which is why I don't fly there. I take the bus every time, and it's a long bus ride. It's like a 24-hour bus ride from Wisconsin to Montreal. But it's fun. I really enjoy having somewhere nearby where I can go practice my French, and not have to fly overseas. So I guess, I don't know, it's a little bit of a different live stream today because it was postponed. It's an hour later than I usually do my live streams, and so maybe I'm not going to get as many viewers or not as many of the regulars. I kept hoping that I would be able to continue and do the musical live stream today, but I think my throat's just not having it. Hopefully we'll be able to do that tomorrow. Anyways, I figure I'll take questions or anything, because this is not something that I really had plans to do. Otherwise, I'll just ramble on and on about learning languages overseas. So I actually did a video about this probably like 2 years ago. And it was about, do you have to live in a foreign country in order to learn the language? Because this is something that you hear every once in a while. And I don't think anyone's arguing that it can be very beneficial to live in the country where the language is spoken. There's obvious benefits to that if you're trying to learn the language. But I also have kind of an anecdotal story that doesn't refute that, but you have to view it as a nuanced issue, right? So I lived in Djibouti, Africa. I know everyone laughs when I say that word, Djibouti. The answer is a big fat no. Exactly. Yeah, I lived in Djibouti, Africa. It sounds like, I don't know, you could say like, hey, get your booty over here. All right, that's the joke I always get every time I tell someone I lived in Djibouti. Anyways, sorry, lots of rambling rabbit trails today, probably because I didn't plan anything. So I lived in Djibouti for like 5 or 6 months. Sorry, Kevin says, it's all down to how you define speak, I guess. Yeah, true. Yeah, and that's a good point, because I lived in Djibouti for a good portion of 2012, which is a French-speaking country. They speak Arabic and Somali as well, but lots of French-speaking lots of French speakers, and I didn't learn one word of French the whole time I lived there. Not one. I just didn't have any interest in learning French, to tell you the truth. I didn't really get interested in learning languages. Well, I was interested in learning Spanish at the time, so I was like, why am I going to start learning another language when I still am struggling to learn my second language, which is Spanish. And I was also slightly interested in learning Greek at the time, but I just viewed French as one of these languages that I'll never have to use. So I wasn't interested in learning French, and I didn't learn any French, didn't learn any Arabic, didn't learn any Somali. I just stuck it with my English speaking friends, even though we were surrounded by speakers of other languages. Yeah, Kevin says I was talking about this in Paris. I don't know, was I talking about it when we were on our live stream or something over there? Kevin, by the way, is one of the ones that, one of the other YouTubers that I've collaborated with a little bit. Kevin is going to be guest speaker in my video tomorrow on the Storytime Saturday. So yeah, he'll be the first guest appearance. And like I said, I've opened this up to other people who want to share their stories about things that have happened to them in language learning. This is a little plug for my Storytime Saturday segment. Just things that you've learned while doing languages, while learning languages, while, I don't know, while experiencing languages or even cultures or anything. I want to hear you guys' stories. So that's what that is. Yeah, so apparently I talked about in our misconception language video, I talked about, and I also made a video about this on my channel. Like I said, I think like 2 years ago. I lived in the country for 5 or 6 months, which isn't, I don't know, is 5 or 6 months enough to become fluent in a language? No, I mean, well, it depends what you mean by fluent, but you should learn something, right? If you're surrounded by the languages, all the signs are in that language, you hear people speaking it on the road or in the stores or wherever you go. And I just didn't learn anything. But then I moved back to the United States, and then, let's see, 2016, I guess. So 4 years later, in the United States, I decided to start learning French. And I learned really quickly, partially because I already spoke Spanish, so that helped. But I think the main factor was my motivation, my dedication, and then just knowing how to learn languages, right? Because there's a lot of people that are very motivated, but they just use the wrong methods. Cheshire Cat says, I've never been to any country where English is spoken, and I think I can say that I'm pretty advanced. Yeah, seems just from the messages, comments that you've left, your English seems to be pretty advanced. So you don't need to go there. You don't. It can help. Like, there's just obvious benefits. But you can learn the language without going to the country, and you can go to the country without learning the language. I think there's some kind of myth out there also that says, if I move to the country where they speak this language, then I will just somehow automatically learn the language by osmosis. I had a friend in El Salvador that kind of thought that. He didn't make any attempts to speak with people in Spanish and didn't learn. And it sucks to spend that much time in a context where you could be learning something new. Oh, hi, Andy. Thanks for working and lurking. Sorry, the live stream is a little bit late today. I was trying to do a different live stream, but it just didn't work out because my throat is really sore this morning. I don't know if you guys can tell. My nose is kind of stuffy and I have a sore throat, so I hope I don't get sick because I'm going to Canada no matter what, even if I'm throwing up on the bus. So anyways, yeah, that brings me back to my trip to Canada. Going to Quebec tomorrow, leaving late tomorrow night. And I try to go as often as I can. I go, I would say, probably about twice a year. And it's a great experience, especially in Montreal. It's very bilingual. They speak, almost everyone speaks English, and most people speak French. Cheshire Cat says, I think being in the country will boost your motivation to use the language because you can see people using it everywhere. Yeah, and it's just like easy immersion. You can create immersion environments at home by always playing music in the language. You can do it by, uh, finding friends that speak it and messaging them all day long. Uh, putting French or Spanish or whatever your target language is, putting posters all over your walls, doing sticky notes. Like, let's see, do I have any sticky notes in here? Must have taken them all down once my French got better. I used to have like sticky notes, like bookshelf and book and stuff. So there are ways of immersing yourself in the language while you're still in your home country. But it's just so much easier, when you're in the foreign country, you're driving around, you're just looking all over the place, seeing signs, businesses. Sorry, I think I am getting a little bit sick. You just see the language all over the place, right? When you talk to people in the restaurant, they're gonna greet you in your target language, and then you're just forced to use it. Right? Like you can be lazy in the United States and take a day off, but when you're living in the country, there's no day off. You're just surrounded by the language. So, that's what I really like about traveling to Quebec. Every time I go, I learn like massive amounts more than just taking French class every day for a semester. Probably going to Quebec for a week helps me as much as like 2 or 3 months of study at school, just because it's really intense and it's really focused. Cheshire Cat says, but I think it's harder when you speak English because it's so easy to find people who speak it and everyone wants to talk to you in English. Yeah, true. Like so obviously I have an English speaking accent when I speak French. And when I go to Quebec, everyone speaks English there, at least in Montreal. Okay. And so I go to Montreal, walk into the store, and I start off by saying bonjour, right? And I guess they can just hear my accent because they don't even try speaking French with me. They just immediately go to English. And I think a lot of people think that's sort of a service to me. Like I will speak your native language to you to make communication easier. But it's not really a service. I don't want to speak my language, my native language. I want to speak my second language because I want to get better. So I think they probably think it's a service to me. They also probably just do it because it's more convenient for them. Because if they're fluent in both French and Spanish, then it's easier for them to speak English than it is for them to try to struggle with my poor French. My French is getting a lot better though. First time I went to Quebec, it was really bad. And now, I'm not at the same level in French as I am in Spanish. Because I'll still struggle to come up with certain vocabulary words and stuff like that. But I can hold entire conversations, have pretty in-depth talks and relationships with people using only French. And sometimes I got to use a lot of circumlocution and kind of stretch my abilities, but I can do it. So I'm going to cut off the live stream here today. A little bit shorter, but it's my throat, and hopefully I'll be better enough by tomorrow that I'll be able to do my musical live stream as originally planned. Thanks everyone for those who are watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if not, definitely check out the Storytime Saturday with Kevin Abroad. We'll see you then.